All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the notification button, hit all the buttons for me, and I really appreciate you looking in. All right, we want to continue to talk about who's black enough. Who's black enough? Are you black enough? Who's black? Blackity black. Anyway, I'm back and I'm black. I need to stop. Anyway, okay. So now we got fallout from the Kamala Harris thing, and the president has chimed in, and we got everybody chiming in, especially black folks. Now, once again, what I put on my Facebook timeline yesterday was basically, I'm just trying to figure out who's black enough. Who's black or whatever. But guess what? If you have any melanin, you're black. Remember, even back during slavery, if you had one drop of black blood, you were considered black. And I'm using the word black. I'm not trying to, trying to dumb it down or tone it down or nothing like that, but black. All right, everybody with melanin in their skin is black. Everybody with melanin in their skin originated in Africa. And I can't think, I need to look this up. I don't know why I haven't looked it up, but because I'm lazy. That's probably why I ain't looking it up. But look, let me tell you something. There was a lady, and I told this story before. There was a lady, and it was the BET Awards. And whoever won for Best International Artist, I don't know who it is. I probably need to look it up. But the person that won for Best International Artist, they weren't there. And their mother accepted the award for them. And so their mother went and accepted the award. But here's what she said, and it was the most beautiful Pan-African thing that I think I've ever heard. Because she was doing this straight off the top of her head. And she said that no matter where you ended up on the planet, you are African. So no matter where you end up on the planet, if you have melanin in your skin, you're African. So stop with all these, the whole thing with all these little divisions and everything is just made to try to, spurn racism and to make it keep continuing, and also it's just to divide and conquer. All right, and they would love that. Okay, Indians. And let's get that vernacular straight too. Indian. The reason why the word Indian even came along was because of the slave trade, and because of the lack of knowledge of Europeans. And I know they mad now because I said that. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not mad at y'all, nothing like that. I'm just telling the truth. All right, just telling the truth. Don't get mad. Get paid because y'all been getting paid, so just get paid. Anyway, so now, and every time they use the word Indian, okay, just like when they got to the United States, the first thing they called the people there Indians, because anybody who wasn't completely white or who was brown or whatever, they were Indians. And so even the Native Americans over here, because I asked someone when I went out to the reservation, I was like, well, what do you like to call yourself? They said Indians, because we think it's hilarious that white folks didn't realize that we were indigenous to this land. And that we didn't, that they thought that we had come all the way from the eastern India. All right. Now, here's the thing about Indians. Everybody migrated. Asians, Indians, and so when you ask the ancestors, that hieroglyph that I've shown so many times in the papyrus and everything and all the temples, remember, they went into all of these temples, they went into all of these, read all these hieroglyphs and everything, and the bottom line was that, and this is, and I believe one of the origins of racism, or one of the origins of Caucasians' anger towards people of color or indigenous people of the world, is because of the fact that the Kemetic priests said that there were only 4 races. There was the black race, the brown race, the yellow race, and the red race. Those were only, and there's a hieroglyph of this, all right? And so because of this, I believe that a lot of racism and a lot of things like that started to occur throughout history, and that's one of the reasons. The second reason was because they needed to force the universal law of action. They needed a way to put people to work, to put the universal law of action to work, and so that they wouldn't have to work. All right. So with that being said, all of this stuff about Kamala Harris not being black is absolutely ridiculous. Jamaicans are Africans, all right? The only difference, and the other thing is, the only difference between most people of color is a boat stop. Literally, is a boat stop. My wife is Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Nigerian. Okay, so she can walk around and say she's not black, right? But she doesn't. Okay, and so I always try to figure that kind of stuff out. Just like I know that I have Nigerian and all this stuff, but how does that make me not black? And how does that, if we know that the Indians that ended up in Eastern India and the people that ended up in the Orient, they all they migrated to those places from Africa. All right, so no matter where you are on the planet, if you have melanin in your skin, you are black. Whether you either came from Kemet, Kush, Nubia, or Ethiopia, you came from one of those places, because that's the only places that they have discovered on the planet where there are artifacts that are older than everything else. There's no artifacts, there's no nothing, there's no history, none of that stuff that predates any of that. And to be up here, and it's ridiculous. And the other thing is, if you didn't know Kamala Harris's parents, and she walked up on you, all right, just on the street, she walks up on you, you don't know. You would assume that she is a black woman. That's what you would assume. You would, and because until you questioned her about her origins and her ethnic background, you would have no clue, because you can't look at her and tell. Now, here's the next thing. Stop getting mad at people because they educated themselves and they did stuff. That's another problem that we have. And then the other one is, don't be so woke that you ain't no good to nobody. Or don't be so woke that you complain about everybody. Anybody that's over 2 years old who has skeletons in their closet, or has done something wrong or whatever. So you can't use that as a measuring point. The other thing is this whole 1994 crime bill, Look, and let me tell you something. Democrats have very little to do with any of the crime bills. The reason why the crime bills had to be done was because they were killing people because of the drugs that the Republicans, Ronald Reagan, and the Republicans put on the streets. That's what motivated and started the crime bill, not Joe Biden and not Kamala Harris. And look, let me tell you something. I get it. I really do. I get it. But I don't get it, because now is an entirely different thing. You cannot live in the past. Even y'all religious zealots, all y'all religious people, y'all realize you cannot live in the past. You have to move on. And if you don't move on, you'll be stuck in the past with a whole bunch of ugly baggage that you don't need. And that's what's going on when y'all start bringing up all this stuff about what they did in the past. Well, in the past, we needed a crime bill. In the past, there were black mayors and black politicians that supported the crime bill. There were black political pundits that supported the crime bill. Why? Because people were getting murdered. The drug dealers had open air drug markets and were taking over city blocks and city corners and everything else. There needed to be a crime bill. The RICO laws, they could not put anybody, they couldn't get any of these drug dealers or anybody, they couldn't put them in jail. Why? Because they had too much money and too much power. So so stop with all this stuff, even with Biden, and I agree, that with some of it, but the bottom line is he's being scapegoated for the crime bill. And really, the real authors of the crime bill were Republicans, because they controlled the Senate and the House of Representatives at the time. So there was nothing that the Democrats could do but do what they were telling them to do. And if you go back and read the history of those bills. And then the other thing is, everybody, now we're like a meme society. And I'm going to admit, I wasn't happy about the incarceration rate with Kamala Harris, but then again, she's an attorney general. She's a lawyer and a prosecutor, so that's her job. I mean, she's doing her job. Not to say that, and the other thing is, I think that we are remiss in not talking about the fact that there are some black folks that need to be in jail. Everybody, look, in every single race, there are people that need to be in jail. Trust me, there's not everybody in one race is not good. Everybody in another race is not bad. The bad part is that it was the cause, it was the effect, the cause and effect. It was the effect or the residue of what happened from mass incarceration. Now there were a lot. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of people who should not have been in jail, who should not have gone to prison. There are a lot of people like that, and there are still people like that being released from the 90s. So. So I get that too. I understand. But with that being said, we are at a historic crossroads when it comes to the presidency. What y'all don't realize, and I don't think anybody really realizes this, is that if Trump gets elected, he'll be a lame duck. He'll just be sitting there doing whatever he wants to do because he does not follow the rule of law. It will be anarchy. He's going to do whatever he says. He's going to run the government by executive order. And he's just going to sit there and order this and order that and order whatever. And then everybody's going to have to, fight him in the courts or however they fight him. But they're going to have to, they'll have to do that and try to fight him in order to right the ship. So don't get the game twisted. He is dangerous. And as a white nationalist and white supremacist, he's extremely dangerous. I mean, come on, this is a man that has already put, children of Latino and Mexican descent, they're locked up in prison camps. You have people separated from, he's already separated families and all that kind of stuff. Don't think, and we just don't realize it because we got other things that surround the news cycles. And don't forget, we have the largest death rate of any country in the world from coronavirus. And he's not doing anything. See, the question is not about, the question is a question of character and leadership. See, in my opinion, the election is more about character and leadership. And I believe that, no matter what, and somebody who's been a career-long politician and a career-long, person in the public eye, of course they're going to come under a lot of scrutiny. But when you keep on doing things that are not conducive to your office or to the United States of America, then that's a problem. And even the Republicans' definition of patriotism is a little bit overboard. I mean, like I said, Trump was impeached and they refused to remove him. That's how much they're sticking with Trump. And it's because he's getting them money. He's getting money to them, and basically he's draining the swamp, but he's draining the swamp of money. They getting all the money. And that's the thing. So billionaires are becoming bigger billionaires, millionaires are becoming 100 millionaires, et cetera, and that's what's going on in this economy right now. So we gotta change this whole thing around. Anyway, but who is black enough? Who is black enough? Are you black enough? Well, who is black? And once again, anybody with melanin in their skin is black. No matter how you got here, no matter what country, what part of land you walked on, any of that, if you got melanin in your skin, you were African first before you were anything else. And remember that. And once we get that through our thick head, then we'll be able to do a lot of stuff. But until we realize, we are an African people. I love y'all. Like button, subscribe button. I'll holler.